Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Secrets for a Happy Life. Today's guest is Ioana Chei. She is joining me with some really interesting topic that I think we all will be benefiting from, and this is emotional regulation, how to deal with our emotions in these, I wouldn't say challenging times, but different times. Like it's a bit of unknown what the future will bring us. And so I'm really happy and glad that Yana will bring us some new perspective and maybe some new ideas that you can think about in your daily life, how to implement some techniques that she will use or mention. Joanna, hi. I'm
Hi.
really happy that you said yes for recording for this podcast. And I would ask you to first maybe tell a little bit about yourself, about your background for our listeners, so they can also get to know you a little bit more.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here. What I would say real quick about me is that I am a certified mindset coach and a licensed psychotherapist. I practice psychotherapy here in Romania, where I am located. And for about 10 years, I've had my own practice, and I work with families, with children, and with adults in my practice.
Which are the most challenging ones? The ones who think that they know everything, or the children that are still exploring the world around?
With children, it's more fun. And yes, it's easier for them to understand certain things and to implement real quick. With adults, they have a really strong pathway that they've been on, and it's hard for them to change it sometimes.
Yeah, I see that by myself. When I have something new that I want to implement in my life, I really need to be thorough about how to implement it, not just from the mindset point of view, just the pure willpower, because then it won't go. I need something deeper. And maybe do you have some ideas? Or I will ask you this way. If I want to implement something, change something, will only journaling help me to achieve that?
Hmm. Um, Something like a goal, you mean? If I want to reach a goal, no, you can journal all day long. But if you don't actually act on what you journal, then you're not going to move very far. Yes,
Mm,
journaling is amazing and I love it, but action is the one that takes us to our goals and what we want in life.
how do we prime ourselves to really achieve the goal? Like with a lot of action, of course.
Well, goals and emotions are really close. You have to talk about emotions when you talk about goals. And when I say emotional regulation, I think about being on the green ground, right? In the green zone where you are grounded, where you are calm, where you have a clear mind and you can make wise decisions
Hmm.
and you are not moved by strong emotions, whether they're emotions of frustration or fear or even sadness and disappointment, right? Setting goals from that state, from that green zone, I think is the best way to set goals because that's where when you have a clear view, you know what you want, you can see your vision and your goal clearly. And then from that state, you can start seeing how to get to that goal that you set.
Hmm.
But if you're overwhelmed by emotions, then the path is not clear. You don't even know what you want anymore because feelings arise and it's all blur. So yeah, it's so important to have that ability of regulating ourselves so that we can follow our dreams.
Before we dive into how to regulate ourselves, I would point one thing out. So I really love that we are having this conversation about goals in the middle of February, because I think the most of the people that I know, they set goals like for New Year's, and till now, mostly they don't think about it anymore. So it's a good, good timing to remind everybody on their goals and why do they want to achieve them. And when you said we are setting goals from the green state, I think it's also important to say that when we are in the green state, we also see clearly our obstacles, so our fears, our insecurities, and we can deal a little bit better with those than when we are all hyped up and we are just, I have this amazing wish that I want to do, and now this is my new goal. And then you go all in and you just don't think about how you will get to there and why do you usually don't achieve this kind of goals.
A very important aspect of it. Yeah.
Yeah, because if we would always know how to get to our goals, how to achieve our goals, we would already be there and we wouldn't be having like, again, similar kind of goal that we had last year, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And how do you manage to do this with your clients? How do you find those obstacles that usually are in the way of achieving the goals? And what are those? Maybe if you can tell.
That's a very good question because my clients often come with a set of obstacles that they think they have, and actually, the obstacles are so different. And that's because we usually look outside of ourselves and we see the obstacles there, but we do not see the obstacles inside of ourselves, our beliefs, our strategies, our values that are in conflict. So yeah, they do come set up with, I need to deal with these obstacles. And we discover together that, yeah, there might be exterior obstacles, but there are also things inside that need to be taken care of. So we look at the what's inside first, and then we see what exterior obstacles are left, because sometimes they just vanish. Oh, I know how to deal with that if my beliefs are all taken care of.
And what are usually those beliefs that are standing in our way? Is it I'm not good enough, or is it some, I don't know, just something from our childhood and attachment styles and these kind of things, how we were brought up? I know it's a lot, it stems from our childhood and how we were raised and what our parents' beliefs were. And if we are not conscious about them, we are just carrying it in our lives and we just spill it over and we live through them. Do you have any suggestion how the listeners might tackle it, how to deal with those, how to see maybe the parents, the patterns that their parents are having and also they are having, and because of those they cannot do what they set up to do?
Well, usually you can tackle those beliefs when you listen to yourself. What do you tell yourself and what do you tell other people? And when you start a phrase with, I can't do that because, then if you pay attention, you will find a belief there. And it's not a matter of, is this true or not? Is it helpful or is it not? Right? So I always tell my clients to doubt everything they say and just question those beliefs. Is that true? Is it true for me? Can I see it a different way? But yes, listening to how we talk, what we tell ourselves, firstly, what we tell ourselves, and then what we tell other people, there you will find the treasure that you need to look at.
And when we we listen to ourselves, we maybe journal and then just read it through and underline what are all those or limiting beliefs or I cannot do this kind of type of sentences. Maybe also if we look outside and see what is triggering us from others, like maybe we see some really successful people how they operate and we feel a little bit triggered with their approach or something. What could that tell us about ourselves and how to regulate those states that we find some treasure inside and we are not just hyper aroused or triggered by something else that is happening outside?
That's a very good example because that happens a lot, right? We look at other people and we get triggered and we think it shouldn't be like this, it's wrong, or it's disturbing. And I think questions are very helpful in these situations to ask ourselves what in that situation triggers us. What is that I think that person does? How do they appear to me? Where did I learn that about people? If they behave that way, they are, I don't know, arrogant. That's one
Mhm.
of my beliefs. If you do X thing, you're arrogant, right? Where did I learn that? And things start to come up. Oh, my grandma said that one time. And my mom used to look at people this way and so on. And then we start discovering things that are not ours. These beliefs, they might not be ours, right? We just took them as we heard them, as we saw them. And then we really get to choose. Do I choose to move on like this, or do I choose to change it? And it's really a matter of choice. Can choose to change it and see how that goes.
Okay, and we say, if I say, no, I want to change, and let's say I have a goal to, let's say, run a marathon. And for running a marathon, I need a lot of discipline, like everything else. Let's say doing something in our business, losing weight, writing a book, be really constant with something. I go and I run today and I go and I run for the next 5 days. And then I like motivation. I a little bit forget about my goal. And how do you approach with people to find their own intrinsic motivation so they don't, or how to combine this with discipline? So the people who want to achieve some goals, they need to be disciplined in something, but discipline alone doesn't get us there. So we need to combine it with some emotional states that we feel compelled to do this. Because if we hate it, I won't run every day if I hate it.
Definitely. I will never run every day just because I need to get somewhere.
Mhm.
And there are more than one things that I would talk about in this situation because it's true. It's not only discipline. And even with discipline, if I believe about myself that I'm not a disciplined person, I will not use discipline to move forward, right? So I need to practice discipline first and then let my brain see that I can be a disciplined person. What do you know? So I always say small steps get us far because it's so important to start small in order to get to where you want.
Mhm.
And that's how you change your identity bit by bit, right? I'm not gonna change it directly from I'm sitting in my house on the couch to running marathons. I will change it by, I sit on my couch and then I go for a walk and then I go for a little run and then, seems like I'm a bit of a runner and I can run more and I make it enjoyable. And by that, I mean, make it easy at first, make everything work with you, not against you.
Mm-hmm.
As someone said, the less friction there is between you and your goal, the more you're likely to achieve it. So make sure there's less friction when you start following your goal.
And when I'm listening to you now, it just pops up in my mind that it's really important what kind of identity we put on ourselves. Like, I am a runner, or I am an entrepreneur, or I am this and this and this, or I am a smoker. Even if you say to yourself, I am a smoker, then it will be hard to quit smoking. You know, if you say to yourself, I am a healthy
Yes.
person, it's going to be easier than to run, to quit smoking, to lose weight, to do all this implementation for good, healthy living. So yeah, identity is important, what we think about ourselves.
Yes, it's really important. And that's why small steps help us change this identity. Go from a smoker to someone who doesn't need to smoke, and then to a healthy person, transition to it smoothly.
Yeah. We need a lot of transitions when we try to do something differently than we were learned how to do it. What would you say if someone realizes that they struggle with emotional regulation? Where do they start? How do they approach this? Are there
Well,
any daily practices, or how long does it realistically take us to just to do something, to implement it in our lives?
well, first of all, that's a big step, knowing that you struggle with regulating the emotions.
Awareness.
Yes. So that's number one. Be aware of your emotions and how you react. And maybe it's not what you like, but it's important to have that awareness. And then it's also part of this awareness to actually start learning how you feel. I always joke that we only have two emotions available most of the time. I feel good and I feel bad. And that doesn't really tell us much. So the more we get to identify what is the actual emotion, the more we're likely to regulate it better. So figure out whether it's anger or sadness. They're so different, and they have different messages for us because all emotions have their purpose, and it's usually adaptative, right? It's for us to adapt and to adjust our environment. So naming the emotion is really important. So they can use a wheel of emotions. You can find those online everywhere. And it's not going to work the first time. You might say, oh, I feel all the emotions here. But bit by bit, the more you exercise, the more you're going to understand, I really know that this is sadness. And I can go and regulate sadness accordingly. So yes, I think naming the emotions and being aware of them is an important part of this. And of course, not blaming yourself that you feel them, because we often do that. Why do I feel angry? Why am I frustrated again? I want to be calm and serene, but they are normal and they are valuable. So treating them like friends would be a great way to go around emotions.
I want to share this video. So I have a practice that when I don't know exactly why am I feeling something or what am I feeling, I imagine that all my emotions are somewhere on the, like in a theater, and they play different roles. And then I put them and I say them, okay, anger, just speak with my sadness. And they try to figure it out, why why they feel the way, why this role is more dominant, and why I don't know, the joy is somewhere in the corner and doesn't know what to do with herself, and try to bring also the joy to the front row and give her a role. And yeah, I think it really helps to get in touch with the emotions and to see them as such. They are just players in our life. They are just the messengers, like you said, and they can bring us a lot of value if we listen to them. And if we get to know them, why they are here, why they are present, and if sudden sadness is here for, I don't know, last 5 days, 10 days, 1 month, why is so present? What can I do? You know?
Yeah, I loved that example that you shared because giving them a voice, it's so important so that you can hear what they have to say. I'm trained in psychodrama,
Cool. I didn't
and
know that.
I use that technique of actually embodying the emotion and giving it a voice and letting them talk to you and talk to each other and sending messages. Yeah, it's so important to let them be and hear what they have to say. It's like with a little child, a 3-year-old that comes and shout your name, right? Petra, 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 listen to me. And if you say, no, go away, is the child going to stop?
No.
No, they're going to get louder.
Yes.
And if you just turn to them and say, yeah, I'm here, it's going to take 1-2 seconds to tell you what they need. And then you can act on that. Be happy, and the child is happy. So, yes.
When do you think it's good that people who now listening to us and think, okay, I have a problem with that, I don't know how to get in touch with my own feelings, with my emotions, or to recognize the messaging they are giving to me, can they do something on their own? Because we are both trained in this, and for us it's easy to just step into one emotion and give it a voice and speak from that part of us. But for somebody who usually just lives in their head, and they are more into, they don't like to feel their body or their emotions, because they think that if I'm gonna let my emotions be really present, this is gonna be the end of me, because it's gonna be too much, or it's just they think that they won't be able to handle it. When is a good timing that they choose a therapist or a coach?
I would say when this is disruptive in their life, when it's an obstacle in you living your life fully, in your relationships, in your work, in your goal pursue, right? That we talked about, then it's a signal, okay, I need support with this. What happens in the relationship with a coach or a psychotherapist is that they witness your emotions without running away.
Yeah.
And there you can be with your emotions, be in a safe space with a person that can hold your emotions. And that's how you learn how to hold yourself in the emotion. So, yes, when it becomes an obstacle in your life and it's a reason why you're not enjoying your life to the fullest, then for sure seek support.
Mm-hmm.
And I often hear that because I heard you say, when is it when they're not able to handle it themselves? We often have this belief that we have to do things ourselves in order to be strong, in order to, right? We can handle it.
Yeah.
But getting support and receiving help doesn't mean we're weak. On the contrary, I would say that's the strong side of us that seeks for help.
Yeah, I can totally agree with you. Sometimes to speak about your problems is the most vulnerable thing you can do, and this shows the strength that you are willing to open to somebody else and speak about things that you think that are your flaws, but when you speak to somebody you see everybody has the same flaws that are not flaws, but we just perceive them as flaws because I don't know, the parents or somebody in our church or in community said this is the flaw. And actually it's why, you know.
And it could
Are you doing
actually be a strength.
yeah, yeah. Are you doing some exercises maybe to teach your nervous system how to regulate itself?
Yes, a lot of exercises that involve the body and
Hmm.
movement because our emotions are in our body and we need to get our body involved in the process. And I know how it is for people that are a lot in their mind and don't use their body as often. I used to be one of them. I want to understand things, not feel them and move them in the body.
This is an important, we need to go, right?
Yes, it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But yes, moving the body is so important. And usually shaking it and dancing helps a lot when there's a lot of nervousness, a lot of anxiety, shaking the body and maybe with a tribal music.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. And I practice it with my clients. And of course, we shut the windows so no one sees and they feel comfortable. But it's such a relief, and it's really working to shake the body. And of course, for moments when you don't have as much energy, touching and hugging yourself, that's really it's it brings softness and kindness to ourselves, and that helps.
Yeah. I love to do breathing exercises like breath work with shamanic tribal music. And sometimes
Oh,
I do it only for like one song or like for 1 hour. But if I don't have time, it's like 3 minutes, 5 minutes enough. And it's interesting that the same song can evoke like really big joy in me, or my tears are just streaming down my face. Depends on what is underneath it, what am I really actually feeling, and I'm not able to see it myself, but the music, the breathing, the deep breaths are just, yeah, they just bring everything out that is needed to go out. And yeah, it's powerful exercise and tool also to use. But I love that you said like jumping and shaking, and this is fun.
yeah, it is. And it could bring tears, right? If that's what's inside. And I think what we need to keep in mind is that it's okay to bring out tears or nerves and anger. It's okay. It's perfectly normal to feel all the feelings.
Mm,
I don't like to call them negative and positive. I actually call them pleasant and unpleasant
mhm,
because it's not pleasant to feel sadness or anger, but it's important to feel it.
mm. But anger is such a good emotion. I think it moves us, it propels us forward, it really pushes us to do something differently. Let's say if I don't like the tight waist on my pants, then if I get really angry, then I'm gonna start losing weight. But if it's a bit uncomfortable, then okay, it's okay. But if you're so we can
Yeah.
have anger as a good motivational emotion. But we started in the beginning to talk about the uncertain future and how do we regulate ourselves in these kind of uncertain times. And do you have any advice on how to build our mindset for something that we don't know what is coming and what the future will bring us, because we never know what the future will bring us?
That is so true. And because we talked about emotions, I think this has to do with emotions too, because we're not really afraid of what happens, but of how we will feel when X or Z happens and how we will handle it. And when we begin to understand our emotions and hold ourselves in those emotions, we begin to have this mindset that I'm going to be okay. Even if things go sideways, I will be able to hold myself in it, in the discomfort. I will be able to face it and handle it. So it's a big part of how we face uncertainty. No
I
matter
love when
what
you said
comes.
handle ourselves in discomfort, because I think a lot of this is discomfort. We want to have the control over certain aspects of our life, but this unknowingness is a big discomfort, especially for those who want to have control, the perfectionistic type of people. So yeah, thank you for bringing this up. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I find myself dreading the uncertainty sometimes, but I remind myself that yeah, it's just uncomfortable, and I will be able to be there with the discomfort.
And this mindset is really important. Like, I will be able to handle it, to to build a trust in our abilities to overcome everything what life throws at us. Because I think that there is nothing that we cannot handle in this type of a kind of moment that we are now in. Maybe we need to sharpen our skills for something, or we need to, like we are talking now, just to teach our nervous system how to be okay with what is happening around us. And then when we are in the green zone, then we can find solutions, even if we
Yeah,
don't know what's going to
exactly.
be our next step. We will be able to choose our next step a little bit from the calmer side of our psyche. And it's going to be, even if it's not going to be the right step, it's going to be a step.
Yes. And we always make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes and not have everything perfect, as you said, right? But it's we will handle it. And circling back to what you asked in the beginning, is journaling enough? You know, that's why I'm saying we need to act and prove ourselves that we can handle things,
Mm.
right? Even if we make mistakes. Oh, I did make mistakes in the past and I did handle them. So it's proof that I will handle them again if they
Mm.
show up.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of journaling, but I'm also a big fan of doing the work. Do, being present, maybe reflect on your thoughts, on your behavior, on your emotions. This can be through journaling, through dancing, through singing, through whatever somebody is close to, but also doing the steps, doing the work, being present in our lives, thinking about the future, preparing for what might come. And I think this is a huge win that we can give ourselves if we go that way.
Yes. And I was just thinking, because I did some research the last couple of weeks around journaling. And yeah, it's so important to put our thoughts onto paper, but also put our emotions and our thoughts together and process them together, not just put our emotions and just complain about life, but
This doesn't work.
yeah, it never does. Just try to use them as a gate to access what's behind it. What are the beliefs, the thoughts, the patterns that are there?
And when we do that, we can ask ourselves, okay, what is the next step that I can do now? not just leave it there
Exactly.
with writing and thinking about it and, oh, poor me, this is such a misfortune that happened, but just, okay, what is in my power now that I can do in the next, I don't know, one
Yes,
hour, 24 hours, and just do it.
I think that was the biggest shift in my life when I understood that I can act unperfectly. I call it messy action. I started taking messy action and then confidence grew and then things started to change and to move towards my goals.
I love that. Yeah, because from action, from movement, the confidence grows. It doesn't just grow. You're not born confident, but our actions, our trust in ourselves, in our abilities, this gives us confidence. And we get that with action, with proving ourselves that we are able to do something.
Exactly. And we usually do it the other way around. We wait for the confidence in order to act when it should be acting first, and then the confidence comes.
I love our conversation. It's yeah, eye-opening. And I don't know, lately I've been hearing a lot of these manifestation gurus that you just think about something. I think this is a long time in our space, but just I think now it's resurfacing. I don't know why. And you just think that you deserve, and then the universe will give everything to you, and you just need to believe that you deserve something. And for me, it's like this such a like somebody would stab me in my heart. Like, you can why it's not. I wish it would be so easy, but we still need to do something, not just believing that everything will fall from the sky. Because I think if we do believe that, and then something doesn't go the way that we believe it, that we wish to happen, then the whole world can crumble, and then you really feel like there is something wrong with you because the universe didn't give it to you. But we have the power to do it ourselves.
Yes, and I actually believe, Petra, that even if it falls from the sky, what we want, we're not going to have it for long because we're the same person that was when we just asked for it and waited for it. And we're going to act the same as when we actually move ourselves, we develop what we need in order to keep what comes to us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. And it's so much more rewarding when you do something. And I remember when I was in my college years, and if some exams they went just like this, I didn't have to study. I didn't value them as much as those that I really needed to sit and study and put my brain into it and learn it, and just put some effort inside something, and that feels much more rewarding afterwards.
It does. It does. I participated in a contest and it was based on the work that you do, not on, the spinning wheel. And it was so much more rewarding than winning was so much more rewarding than winning at, luck.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Okay, did we cover everything, or you have something else in mind what you wanted to add for our discussion about emotional regulation?
I think we covered it. I had some notes here. That's why I'm looking in the side, but we covered everything I had in mind.
So if we do some quick summary, I think the most important thing is not to be afraid of our emotions, not to push them away, just to embrace them, to give them a meaning, to see the message they are giving us, and then act accordingly. But first, calm ourselves down if we are in these hyper states that we don't think the next day, okay, what did I just do?
Yes, we talked about action and messy action, but don't act from emotion, strong emotion. Just regulate first and then act.
And for me, the easiest way to regulate is maybe just to take a nice deep breath and do some squats, or just think about like 10, 8, 9, 7, and just count down and try to just be present. Okay, what is this telling me now? Not just react, but think about it a little bit, feel it, and then it usually, the intensity goes away after a couple of seconds, and then you can act accordingly to the stimuli and not just to explode or go with these really hyper emotions.
Yeah. And this just came to my mind as I heard you talking, that it's important when we take that break to actually take the break from the emotion, not just get ourselves out of the situation, but keep running the thoughts. I'm so mad because blah, 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 and justify the emotion. Just take the break and be aware of your body and what goes on inside, but not keep that circle going round.
And because that hamster wheel can be really, really exhausting. And then we don't
Yes,
sleep, and we don't sleep when we are tired, and we are even more jumpy the next day, and it all piles up, and then we explode, and then we don't like what our explosion brings.
definitely. Yes.
Yeah, so do you have maybe for for the closing thoughts, do you have some maybe exercise or advice for somebody who needs it now?
I have a lot of exercises with the body, or simply having questions to go with those emotions. What is this emotion trying to tell me, and what can I do about it? And of course, we talked about the shaking, or simply the hugging that calms us, and that also comes with self-compassion. I think exercising self-compassion helps a lot. Being compassionate with ourselves and not blaming ourselves that we feel everything that there is to feel in this world. So, yes, having that exercise, thinking about ourselves as normal people experiencing normal emotions. And that's that. I'm experiencing this. What can I do to make it better?
That's lovely. What can I do to make it better? Not what can I do to go away, but what can I do to make it better?
Yeah, because sometimes better, it just means a little smaller for now. And then after we get all the message, it will go away. But we don't need to send it away from the first moment.
Mm, yeah, I like that. Thank you so much, Ioana, for your contribution to this conversation. It was amazing. I liked it. I think I will start shaking a little bit more. I used to do that, but now I forgot about that. I like those
Thank you
conversations
so
because
much.
always when I'm speaking to somebody, it's just like, okay, yeah, I forgot about that. That's a really good one. And then, yeah, it
Yeah,
brings
that happens
something.
to me too. And I remembered about the emotions talking to each other. So that was valuable for me. It was a pleasure, Petra, to be here. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Have a lovely day and see you. Bye bye.